JNYPTN, thank you so much. Peggy says, it feels like we should all stand in a circle and hold hands. It does feel like that. Okay, well, the camera person will be focusing on Megan's reaction, I guess, seeing as we're not allowed to hear the audio according to what the judge said. Mods, if anyone asks where's the audio, please could you let them know? Please could you help me remind people what's going on? The judge said no audio for the verdict to be read. Woo! Look at her, look at her. Ooh, well, this is an interesting way to study body language. In silence. Right? That we could just focus on her reaction. Oh my, Southern Cali B said, you do us Southerns well, G. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Rachel. And thank you, Shirley. Luna says, we will see it in her face. Oh, I think we're seeing it in her face. Right? The real Tanya says, hey girl, thank you so much. Oh dear. I think it's looking like the verdict is guilty, but of course we can't hear it yet. Do not panic. The judge said he will repeat it. The victim's voice said she looks nervous. She should be. Then the max sentence she faces would be life without the possibility of parole. Okay, let me just quickly go here. See if anybody's typing anything anywhere else. VMAS said, thank you for your detailed coverage, G. I live for these trials you cover. Thank you so much. How do people know? People are typing in other chats the answers that they think it is, right? Judge will reread the verdict after the jury. Thank you, Stefan. The judge said no court audio. And if you guys look at the banner, the verdict is in. The judge said no audio when the jury reads it. Will be repeated after with audio. Okay? Yeah, I think that's... I think her face says... and we're guessing. I think her face says guilty. Let's see if Ansley Daniel is typing anything. Nothing? No one's typing anything. Rob says she only feels sorry for herself. I think so as well, actually. I can't wait for the sound to be on. Suzanne says, hey Megan, can you spell LWAP? Tissues are coming out. Real Happy 33 says, no one but those in the courtroom know. Beatrice said, what's the purpose of no audio? The judge said he doesn't want the jurors' voices to be heard, right? So, thank you all for being here. Please like. Not many of you have liked the live stream, not because you like the topic, but because you like the way I present true crime, or you like watching trials with me. Oh boy. And then, after the verdict is repeated for us, it's time for the sentencing phase, where I think obviously the state would then present their aggravating factors and argue that they would likely want the maximum sentence of life without parole, and then the defense would get to argue their mitigating factors and why they think she should have a lesser sentence, which they might have some points there. I don't know how the jury will feel about it, given her age and all of that. As Josie Buckner said, as a Tennessee in this case, absolutely broke my heart. Bring on the justice for Evelyn, and thank you for bringing us amazing coverage every time. Thank you so much. Yeah, this case is so heartbreaking, right? Laura P. said, is sentencing today? It could be. It could potentially be, because based on, I don't know exactly how it's going to work in this courtroom, but based on other Tennessee trials we've recently seen, when they go to the sentencing phase, they would immediately after this verdict go into the sentencing phase, and then the state would maybe even present witnesses, or they would make their kind of like a closing argument, I guess, to motivate why they think she should be sentenced to life without parole, with the jury present. So the jury still stays. And then the defense will go, and then what happens is the jury has to go deliberate again on what they think the sentence should be. Yeah, no, she's definitely looking devastated. She's looking like LWOP is written on her back. Which again, if you don't want to spend the rest of your life in prison, don't kill your child and throw them in the trash. Don't throw your child in the trash. In any case, I mean, it's just absolutely horrible. Even the neglect in the weeks and months leading up to Evelyn's death is just already so sad. So I'm eager to hear, what did they decide? We don't know it yet. We don't know it yet. Sherry said, gee, I love your style of presentation. Thank you. And all of the mods. Yes, thank you to all of the mods as well. Crystal Ann 517 said, justice for sweet Evelyn. Poor Evelyn. Never had a chance. Darzilla said, guilty on all counts. I hope she's just like Lailani and Latisha. And you said, justice for Evelyn. Thank you. And Sarcasm said, I think she has to stand while the verdict is read. Doesn't look like it. T.O. Girl, thank you so much. Yeah, Nikki said, Mr. Scott. Mr. Scott is not looking at the jury. He sure was looking at them a lot while cross-examining some witnesses, right? He looks at them every now and then. Oh dear. Okay, let's go back to here and quickly see if there's anything happening on X. Sorry for the noise. Mr. Grizzly's cooking up a storm, I think. Interesting. Somebody on X said guilty on all charges. That would be... Yeah. They're saying they're reporting on social media. So take it with a grain of salt for now until we hear it with our own ears that they're finding her guilty on all charges. Pernille said, wonder if the judge will make a statement. Sure hope so. He better repeat every word here. We want to hear it. Yeah, now she's crying. The defense attorney is looking mighty disappointed. It's tough. Must be tough to defend someone like this as well. Chris Beltran, thank you so much. Let's ask Rock. What is the verdict in Megan Boswell trial? You can hear me typing. It's better than silence. Okay, they're standing. Sound on, please. I'd rather be in Whoville, says justice for little Evelyn. Thank you for covering this, G, and all you do. Thank you so much. Mary, thank you so much. Yes, I've watched it myself as well. Thank you for sending that. Ellie Mae said, my first ever super chat. Thanks for your coverage, G. Thank you, Ellie Mae. I hope they don't forget to turn the audio on. February 13th of 2025, a verdict was reached in Megan Boswell's trial. 19 counts. Now let's wait to hear the judge repeat everything we were not allowed to hear now. Sonny Casher, thank you so much. Got a photographer here. Esme says justice for Evelyn. Thank you. I hope so. I think so. Lauren says justice for baby Evelyn.
Murder. To judgment of this court, you are guilty.
Ooh.
In count 2, a jury of your
Guilty.
peers having found you guilty of first-degree murder and the perpetration of a felony, it's a judgment of this court, you are guilty. In count 3, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of first-degree murder and the perpetration of a felony, it's a judgment of this court, you are guilty. In count 4, a judgment of your peers having found you guilty of aggravated child abuse, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 5, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of aggravated child neglect, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 6, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of tampering with evidence, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 7, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 8, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 9, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 10, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 11, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 12, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. Count 13, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. Count 14, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 15, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 16, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 17, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In count 19, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of abuse of a corpse, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. And in count 20, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of failure to report a death under suspicious, unusual, or unnatural circumstances, it's a judgment of the court, you are guilty. In counts 4 through 20, the jury did not assess a fine, so there will be no fine assessed in those counts. Now we'll be in recess about 15 minutes.
Thank you.
Cool.
Stands in recess.
Good. So now what we're doing is we're getting to the sentencing phase, okay? So Megan Boswell's guilt or innocence phase is over. She was found guilty on all 19 charges. There was initially 20, but they dropped one during the trial.
Judge, we approach.
Let me just quickly, I just want to close a couple of screens here. Hold on. Make this full screen for you. And now we get to the sentencing phase. So let's just say like this, sentencing phase, and the state will now have to put on, I guess, witnesses, evidence, make the arguments for why they think that she should be sentenced to life without the possibility of parole, and then the defense would have to put on their mitigating factors for why they think she should have a lesser sentence. Then the jury would normally have to go and deliberate a second time on what they think the sentence should be. So we'll be on verdict watch for the sentencing as well. And then when they come back, then if they say if they say life without parole, then that's it. They decide the sentence.
I gave it to you yesterday.
Okay. Thank you all for being here. 10,000 people are here. Half of you have hit the like button. So the other half, could you please put your paws, thumbs, toes, anything on the like button? Thank you so much. It's a great free way to support the channel.
All right, General.
Judge, the state would introduce it. I'm sorry.
You can do an opening statement if you'd like to.
Okay. No,
Okay.
State doesn't need to do any opening statement.
What?
Do you have an opening?
I do.
Okay.
The state's not doing an opening statement? Come on.
Ladies and gentlemen, although I may not agree with your verdict, I respect your verdict. I respect you. I thank you for your time, and I have one more thing to ask you. You have to make a decision now, and that decision it's going to mean the difference. If you sentence Megan Boswell to life in prison, she'll be released when she is probably 69 years old. It'll be 8. She's been in jail. you probably realize she has been in jail since she was 18 years old. She went to jail February the 25th of 2020, and she hasn't been released. So with that said, if you give her a life sentence, it would be 51 years. That's what I'm asking you to do. If you give her a life without sentence, she will never be released from prison. That's the difference. So it would be the difference between her being released at what I believe would be 69 to 70 years old or never being released. In doing this process, and Judge Goodwin will read you some very short jury instructions compared to what you heard yesterday. You look at statutory aggravating factors and mitigating factors. And in this case, the state will submit the age of the child as the aggravating factor. Our mitigating factors, we've listed several of those. They include no significant criminal history, her youth and age at the time the offense was committed. She was 17 when she had Evelyn. She was 18 when Evelyn died. You'll hear more about her unstable and chaotic home life. You'll hear from her mother, Angela Boswell. She's here today. You'll hear from Angela about domestic violence that Megan witnessed between her parents. You'll hear from Angela about drug use that Megan witnessed her parents engage in. You'll also hear about her schooling. It wasn't seamless, and how one of her primary role models was her grandfather, Tommy Boswell's father. He died when I think she was 11 or 12 years old. You'll hear that. And then finally, you'll hear a little bit about her younger siblings, Elijah and Charlotte. Elijah has a disability that Megan has looked after him and tried to help take care of him. And then you're also feel free to look at any other thing you've heard in the proof in making that decision as far as a mitigating factor. Anything else you've heard in all the proof from any of the witnesses. And also you'll probably hear from Gail Kyte. You've heard from her once before, but you'll hear a little bit more from her about the shape Megan was in when she came into her home. And you'll hear from we expect to call Mary Boswell. She is Megan's grandmother. I think most of you recognize the name Old Mommy at this point. You'll hear from her and what she witnessed and her participation in raising Megan. So it's a hard decision. It's not a light decision. You've made a hard decision already, and it's my hope that after you see this, you will come to the conclusion that maybe at 69 years old, it would be fair for her to be released from prison.
Oh, wow. So we're going to hear from Oh Mommy, which is Mary Boswell, which is Megan Boswell's grandmother, Gail Kyte, who was her foster mom as well, and a couple of other witnesses today in the sentencing phase. Rowena Rains says justice for baby Evelyn. Yes, and thank you. Everyone that's only joining now, we're in the sentencing phase of this trial on day 8. And what that means is obviously now the defense, has said what the intentions would be to present their mitigating factors for the jury to consider what her sentence should be, because in Tennessee here it's up to the jury. I think Megan, as someone said earlier, is lucky that she's not facing the death penalty, because this is a death penalty state. And because she had no previous criminal record and because of her age at the time of the crime, the state decided to not pursue the death penalty. And instead the maximum would be life without parole. That's the maximum it can be, right? If they give her just a life sentence, if that's what they decide, then as the defense says, then she'll be let out when she's 69 years old. Maybe she won't even be let out. She'll be eligible for parole, and there would be parole hearings. And it's very uncommon for someone to just be let out on their first parole hearing, as we've seen in other cases, right? So, Joe Croft, thanks for being a member for 28 months. Are we ready to continue? Here we go.
All right. General proof.
Yes, Judge. This time the state would introduce a copy of birth certificate of Evelyn Boswell.
All right. That'll be Exhibit 262. I'm going to keep the exhibits in sequential numbers, but I've started a new sheet for the sentencing part. It'll be Exhibit 262. Any other proof, General?
No, Judge, at the state address.
All right. Mr. Scott?
Here's we call Angela Boswell. Angela Boswell.
Oh my word, we're gonna see Angel Boswell. That's Megan's mother. I just got goosebumps. We've been asking ourselves the whole trial, where is Angel? Well, there she is. She's gonna be testifying for the defense. Ness Pieper says, I was a teen mom and I knew killing a baby was wrong. Her age is not a mitigating factor. I agree. There she is. This is Megan Boswell's
Raise
mother.
your right hand, ma'am. And state your name for me.
Angela Boswell.
You solemnly swear or affirm testimony you're about to give be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, ma'am. Have a seat. If you'll pull the microphone down and talk straight into that microphone. Actually, you know what? I need to switch these.
So if you missed what just happened in the sentencing phase, the state rested. That's it. They're not going to bring witnesses. They're very confident in their case, eh? At some point, I thought maybe a little overconfident. Don't be complacent. But anyway, the jury found Megan Boswell guilty on all counts. Sentencing phase, the defense, which is interesting because in the guilt or innocence phase, the defense had nobody. Okay, they said the defense rests. They didn't present any witnesses. Megan didn't take the stand, but yet here we are in the sentencing phase to present now mitigating factors from the defense to argue why Megan should have a lesser sentence than life without parole. And now they've got witnesses and a whole bunch that they said. It would be, we're going to see Mommy, we're going to see Angel Boswell, which is Megan's mother now, Gail Kyte, her foster mom as well, all up there for the defense to try to argue to get Megan a lesser sentence than life without the possibility of parole. Okay, we're ready to go. Thank you, Kim Casey.
Thank you.
Gayla says Evelyn would probably be in first grade now, had she lived. Yeah, she would be 6 years old.
Ready to go, Judge?
Ready.
Ma'am, state your name for the record.
Angela Boswell.
You are Megan Boswell's mother.
I am.
Okay. Ms. Boswell, you know the purpose of being here today.
I do.
I want to ask you some about Megan's home life and growing up, but I guess I want to ask you first a little bit about yourself.
Okay.
And I'm asking you these questions, Ms. Boswell. I'm not trying to embarrass you or test any
no, sir.
aspersions.
No.
You married Tommy Boswell when you were how old?
First time 15.
Can you speak into that microphone just a little more, please?
The first time 15.
Okay. And when did you become pregnant with your first child with him?
I had my first in April and turned 16 in July. So,
Okay. And who was that child?
Tommy Jr.
Okay. And then you had Megan at some point. How old were you when you had Megan?
There's 8 years difference. I was almost 24.
It's okay. So let's talk about Megan's life growing up. Would it be fair to say that during her lifetime she's witnessed drug use between you and her father?
Yes.
What type of drugs?
Opiates, mainly.
Scoot up and speak into that so the jury can hear you.
Opiates, mainly.
Did that drug use lead to other problems?
Yeah. Arguments, fighting, yes.
Okay. You say there were
Strife
strife.
is what it brings, yes. Non-stop.
Is that something that went on pretty much her entire childhood
Yeah.
growing up?
Yeah, from the time she was pretty little, yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Good. Now, did she witness fights between you and her father?
Yes.
Okay. I think at some point her father was convicted of aggravated assault and kidnapping.
Yes.
Were you the victim in that?
Yes. Mm.
Do you remember ever taking Megan to any NA, AA meetings with you?
Yes, I did.
How old was she when you did that?
Let me think. She was probably about 7 or 8. First ones I started taking her to. 7 or 8, 8 or 9, somewhere around in there. Yeah.
Now she, due to the strife in your home, was she raised by her grandparents to some degree?
Yes.
Okay. What were their names?
Mary and Danny Boswell.
Okay. Mary Boswell, would that be who's known as a mommy?
Yes. Mm.
These problems, do you feel that it's partly your fault, the problems Megan's experienced?
No, absolutely. Yes. Yes, absolutely.
And unfortunately, your problem.
Shame. It's very sad, right? It's very tragic. And it must be really difficult to be up here testifying, you know, to try to make sure her child, because it's her daughter, obviously her grandchild is no longer here, but her daughter isn't thrown away for life. But I mean, for Evelyn's sake, I know many people would obviously hope for life without parole because of how she treated her, that Megan murdered her, she's convicted now, and threw her in the trash like that, and maybe even alive. I mean, it's just unthinkable. But either way, I'm sure this is very difficult and it could be very sad. Please also know that it could be very triggering or upsetting. There's lots of people recovering, of course, in this community. Thank you for being here. And if it ever gets too much for you, just know we will save you a seat, okay? Let's go.
Problems that they went on up into. We saw a video in here, you being brought down from the jail to talk with her in 2020.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So even up until the time she went to jail, you were in and out of jail.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. I've been.
Have you been convicted of numerous crimes?
Yes.
Now, have you managed to straighten up at this point?
I have, yes.
You hoping to?
Yes. I pray every day and just, you know, to do my best and try. I've learned the importance of a mother's role, but not for Megan, I didn't.
All right.
I failed her on that miserably.
And you're here asking the jury to give her a sentence of life as opposed to life without?
It's Maggie is, at her core, she is a generous, kind-hearted person. And through all Maggie's went through, Maggie still has potential. You know, she was trying so hard. You know, she didn't repeat my mistakes. Maggie learned from my mistakes. And she was trying to do better with Eve. You know, she wasn't repeating. And I think she got saddled with, you know, just because of my mistakes that she did. That was not it. That was not the case with Evelyn.
Would it be fair to say she didn't have a good role model for the mother should be?
No, she did not.
Okay. Answer any of Ms. Massengill or Mr. Harper's questions.
That's true. Anatomy scholar said Megan had thrown her in jail for car theft after giving her a car. What the actual hell? This is disgusting. Megan should be ashamed for doing this to them. I mean, yeah. I mean, Megan must be sitting there. Look at the hurt that she caused. I mean, I think it would also be common sense to not murder your child and throw them in the trash, right? There's no excuse. I understand, obviously, everyone's saying there's no excuse for what Megan did. Either way, it's still sad to see her mother on the stand like this, right? C. Taylor said justice for Evelyn. Yes.
I don't have any questions, Judge.
Thank you, Megan.
Yeah, show us Megan. Show us Megan. Oh, shame.
Judge, at this time, I have some judgments of conviction of Tommy Boswell. I'd like to put in by agreement with Mr. Harper.
No objection, Judge.
Okay. I'd ask these to be made the next 4 exhibits.
Mr. Scott, I'm going to enter the case number 61078 as exhibit 263, and the other 3 pages are 3 counts of the same case, so I'll make that a collective 264.
What is that case number, Your Honor?
62497.
Thank you.
Wendy Gray says, I'm sorry, but I could not support my daughter after killing my grandbaby. Understandable.
Case 61078 and case 62497. Those 3 pages, 264.
Your Honor, defense would call Gail Kyte.
Gail Kyte, Megan's foster mom. She's so cute.
Kyte.
Her foster mom's so sweet. Here she comes.
It's Kyte, right?
I believe so, Your Honor. I'll have her spell it. I think she was a witness in the trial, but I'll go back to that.
Raise your right hand and state your name for me.
Gail Kyte.
Ms. Kyte, do you solemnly swear from the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, ma'am?
I do.
Have a seat. Speak into that microphone.
Ms. Kyte, good morning.
Good morning.
And just so I make sure here, spelling your last name, is it Kyte?
It is.
And Ms. Kyte, you've previously testified in this hearing as a state's witness, is that correct?
That's correct.
Well, thank you for coming back for this part of it. I know Ms. Boswell appreciates that. How long have you been working in foster care?
15 years.
Do you remember when Megan Boswell came to you?
I do.
Do you recall what kind of shape she was in or state?
She was in bad shape. She was one of the worst children that I'd brought in as far as neglect.
What do you mean by that?
She was very malnourished. She's very skinny. Her hair was matted to her head with lice. Impossible to even get a comb through.
Okay. Well, when she came to you, were you given any background? I imagine in foster care you're given background or information of where this child is coming from. Were you giving any of that?
I was.
And what were you preparing for?
In the intake papers, it mentioned trauma. It mentioned rape.
Did it give you any background or any information about her family background or makeup?
Not really.
Okay. Now, you said she came to you with lice. What did you do to try to help Megan?
Well, I took her to a beauty shop because there was no way to even begin to get a comb through. It was horrible. The beauty shop wouldn't touch it. They told me I offered to pay him $100 to go out back to cut her hair. And they said that they couldn't do it. Finally, the agency that we were with found a beautician that met me at a church that was willing to come in and give Megan a haircut. They gave her a bob, which looked really cute on her. But even after that we could get a comb through, it took close to 3 weeks, maybe a month, to get rid of the lice. Were just so bad. I had to get prescription medicine from the doctor. We got 2 bottles of that. I bought the comb that you run through that's supposed to kill the lice. And I know I practically traumatized the poor child because we'd go out on the porch and I'd run that comb through trying to make sure we got all the lice, and she'd sit there and tears would run down her hair. She got tired of me. It wasn't a pleasant situation. And then even when you do that, you still got to go through, you've got to thoroughly clean the bedding. Everything in the room has to be taken down, washed in hot water. But it was a rough time for her, very rough.
And you may have said, but she came to you how old?
She was 17 years old.
And she was pregnant.
17, pregnant, scared, didn't have a place to go.
And you believe that she had been raped or violently sexually assaulted. Were you given any background or information about her family, her mom and her dad?
I knew Mom was in and out of jail, and I knew her daddy owned a business.
Okay. Were you able to come to the opinion that she essentially came from a dysfunctional family?
I did.
Okay. And how long did she stay with you?
She stayed 4 months. When she came in, we got to work, got rid of the lice, got her registered for school. Where she was pregnant, she chose to do online schooling. She worked really hard getting her diploma. If a test didn't go right, she was on the phone the next day with the counselor getting it reset. I never had any problems trying to get her to do her schoolwork or anything. She hung with it.
She ever caused you any problems, disciplinary-wise or anything like that?
No.
Never?
No.
Okay, quick pause. Joanna Summer said, Megan threw Evelyn away for a boy. It was her decision. It has nothing to do with her childhood. Don't forget how happy she was after Evelyn couldn't be found. You make a good point. Blink Bunny said, gee, who's deciding sentencing, the judge or the jury? The jury. The jury will go deliberate again. So we're going to, after all of this, teleport probably to a sentencing stream, yes? And we'll wait there for the sentencing verdict and for the sentencing to be read and done. It's just done and dusted after that. So we'll probably have sentencing today as well. This trial really escalated quickly yesterday. Okay, so let's keep listening.
And did she seem to be thriving in a structured environment?
She did. She did.
Was she making friends?
She did.
Did she seem to be progressing and coming out of the state she was in when she came to you?
She very much so.
And she was with you for 4 months. Did you form a bond with her?
Oh, I did. We took up together immediately. It was during the winter. She learned me how to play card games. Winter days, we'd sit there and we'd play. Baby'd sleep. We'd play cards. But we formed a bond.
Did you take her to doctor's appointments?
I did.
How did she seem to feel about becoming a mother?
She was very excited.
Did you have conversations with her about that?
I did.
Did she seem to fully understand her roles and responsibilities of what was going to be required of her?
She did. Megan practically raised her younger sister Charlotte and her brother Elijah. She had plenty of experience with younger children.
How did you know that?
Well, mostly from conversations with Megan, and just I could tell by the way she took care of Evelyn at the house. You know, she knew how to heat a bottle. She knew how to change the diapers. She got up when the baby cried.
Did you ever have to tell her to do those things?
No.
How sad then that she ended up just neglecting her, murdering her, throwing her in the trash.
Me and my husband never once woke up those 4 months when Evelyn woke up in the middle of the night. Megan would take care of her very well.
And I asked you, and I want to clarify that, if you ever took her to doctor's appointments, she was with you when she was with you. She came to you pregnant. Did you go to the prenatal appointments?
I did.
And did you go to follow-up appointments with Evelyn's pediatrician?
I did.
Okay. So you were involved through the whole process, really?
Those 4 months, yes.
Okay. At some point in time, was Megan taken from your home and placed back somewhere else?
She done trial visits to go back to Tommy's.
Okay.
There was a process in the foster care system.
I understand.
She done weekend visits, or at first it was just visits, and then it led to weekend visits.
How did she feel about that?
She seemed okay with it.
Eventually, was Megan placed back in the custody and care of her family?
She was. She went back to Tommy's house.
Tommy, you mean her father?
Yes,
Okay. And did you maintain contact with her?
I did.
How often?
We texted back and forth over it wasn't a daily time, but I want to say once a month, couple times sometimes couple times a week. It's just according to what was going on and what pictures she had took of Evelyn.
When you were talking to her, did you eventually learn that maybe things were kind of getting back off the tracks again?
I did. In April, I received a call from her foster care worker saying that Megan had been needed some help, and would, even though she had was out of the foster care system, would I be willing to go and help her out? And I said, no problem. So I called Megan. She told me that her mother had dropped her off at a church. She had drove off and left her and Evelyn there. She had took Evelyn's diaper bag, the baby's supplies. So I told her I'd be right there. I went and picked her up. We went to Walmart, bought baby bottles, formula, diapers, the stuff that a baby would need.
Where did you take her?
We went back to my home. She spent the night. Her and Evelyn they took showers, a good night's sleep. But then the next morning, she wanted to go back to her mother's family's home.
Where's that at?
Now, I'm not sure. The place that I took, her grandfather was in the hospital, and she wanted to go there to meet up with her family. So when she left my home, I drove her to the hospital in Kingsport, and she assured me that she would be perfectly fine, and her and Evelyn got out.
It'd be fair to say that Megan wasn't getting maybe the familial support from her parents that she was needing at that time.
Yes.
Okay. I imagine over this time, Miss Kyte, that did you ever meet Tommy Boswell Sr. or her mother, Angela?
I had never met Angela, but I'd met Tommy several times.
You said you agreed that she probably come from a dysfunctional family. Let me ask you this. She lived with you for 4 months and you stayed in contact with her after she moved out. It's your opinion, you know her, you talked to her. Do you think Megan ever knew what a normal family looked like?
No. No.
Did she crave that?
I think so.
Was she wanting that for Evelyn?
I think so.
Well, it's obvious why we're here today. You know why you're testifying. Are you asking this jury to just give her life?
I am, with the possibility of parole. This child has been traumatized. She's made bad mistakes that has to be paid for. But I think she deserves a chance to come back out to the real world. I don't think she's irredeemable. I think she can become a functioning citizen.
Ms. Kyte, I thank you again. If you would answer any questions that the state has for you.
I know what we're all thinking. Many people, Grizzly's always like, wait, what? But Evelyn didn't get a chance, right? I understand that it's Megan, she's alive now. Evelyn is not, which is so sad, so devastating. And now, you know, there would be people advocating for Megan to have a second chance. In my opinion, if someone is capable of murdering a child and throwing him in the trash the way that she did, and lying to the police and the FBI to the degree that she did, smiling on those interviews and everything, I don't know if she's redeemable, man. I don't know. That sounds like a very dangerous person to me, especially if the motive seems to be, oh, I want a new life with this guy that I met. So, yep, I'm just gonna get rid of my child. Because that's what the state's theory is, and it seems to, based on the evidence we see, that's what it seems to be. Never mind that she was practically stalking Ethan Perry and then Hunter. I think she could be a very dangerous person, right? That doesn't belong in society. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think, right? Okay, let's hear if the state has any questions.
Nothing from the state judge.
Oh my word, Pernille.
Should we call
Yes, Pernille says she could even get pregnant again. That is a scary thought. She should never be able to do that.
Mary Boswell?
Mary, now we're going to see Oh Mommy. I'll skip forward if I can. We're just a few minutes behind you, so I can just skip forward when I unpause here. Honeybee said, okay, I agree. Megan did have a hard upbringing, but she knows right from wrong. She has to be held accountable for her actions. And I mean, I know many of us in this community have had a hard upbringing, and nobody's out here murdering children, right? We better not. Then you're not a grizzly. But, you know, that's really, I think, universally people understand, don't murder babies. If you do, you're going to pay the price, and it makes you a very dangerous person. And to be so brazen on all the media interviews, oh my word. I mean, she was enjoying it, enjoying the media attention and leading everybody astray, right? Pele Pernille says game over, right? Game over. Thank you so much for your sticker. So, Oh Mommy's trailer, this would be Mary Boswell's trailer, was very close to the shed and the playhouse.
Boswell? I'm Gene Scott. How are you?
Pretty good.
We're here today because the jury's trying to decide how long Megan will have to stay in prison. I want you to, I guess, your name is Mary Boswell.
Not Mary Boswell.
Okay. How do you know Megan?
Sir,
How do you know Megan?
she's my granddaughter.
Okay, are you Tommy Boswell's mother?
Yes, sir.
And obviously you've known Megan her whole life.
All of her life, I started keeping her from the time she was 2 months old till she was grown, off and on, not all the time, but off and on.
Why was that in part because of problems between your son and her mother, Angela?
Sir,
Was that because her parents were having
no,
problems?
she just loved me and her papa, and she stayed with us, and we loved her, and so we keep her a lot.
Okay. Were you aware of the violence issues between Tommy and Angela?
No, I didn't live in their home or nothing. I don't know nothing about what went on in their home, sir.
Okay.
We'd pick her up and keep her until she want to go back and like that, off and on.
Okay. And have you always lived down there on the same property Tommy lives on? Or?
I've now lived there for maybe 20 years, 21 or 2 or something like that.
She lived there almost all of Megan's life.
Yeah, yes, sir. Oh, yes, sir.
Okay. And you're aware, you told me, I think, one of Megan's role models was your husband, your late husband?
Sir?
Your late husband, he was one of Megan's role models?
Yes, we loved her like she belonged to us.
Okay. And, when did he pass, ma'am?
11 and a half years ago. Soon be 12 this summer.
So that would have been when Megan was, I guess, what?
Yeah, maybe 12 years old or something.
12 years old?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that take an impact on her?
Yes, it did.
Okay. And are you here asking this jury for leniency today?
Yes, sir, I am.
Asking them not to give her a sentence of life without parole?
I hope they don't, sir. I love her like I hope they don't give her the sentence like that. I'd love to give her my home if I could take her home today. That's how much I love her.
I understand. Thank you, Ms. Boswell. Is there any Mr. Harper or Ms. Massey?
No questions, Judge.
Ms. Boswell, thank you so much.
Okay, I'm leaving. Thank you.
Going down there. All right. Go ahead, Mr. Scott.
Megan, we've talked about this before. You understand you have a right not to testify.
Yes.
No one could force you to testify.
Yes.
We'll start this over since we didn't have the microphone up. Megan, you understand you have a right not to testify, and if you don't testify, the jury may not draw any inferences from that failure to testify. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Likewise, you have a right to testify, and no one could keep you from testifying if you wanted to.
Yes.
After consulting with me, Mr. Horde, and talking about your case and hearing what's happened here in court and all the evidence, do you wish to testify or not?
No.
You do not wish to testify?
I do not wish to testify.
And Ms. Boswell, you're still under oath from yesterday or the day before. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any other proof? And before we bring the jury in, one thing that I forgot to do yesterday was when we excused the alternates, I took the contents of one of their books and the cover page, and I gave that to the court reporter, and that would be designated as Exhibit A, the letter A, for identification only, so that it's part of the record as to what those notebooks were that they took back.
So if you missed that, because this is the sentencing phase, Megan would have the opportunity to testify again, and she has declined that opportunity.
All right.
Vanessa says, why is the state not pushing for life without parole harder? I think they're very confident in their case. which is why I say for risk assessment it might be overconfident, but I don't know, that's just my opinion. I'm like, I know we want to see it, but their silence is also speaking volumes in this regard. There's like, nope, no questions, nope, no witnesses, nothing to say. State rest, like, oh, okay. You know, if I were on the jury, I'd be like, damn, okay. Because she was found guilty on all 19 counts. So let's see what they decide, which will be later. They have to go deliberate again. Interesting. I'll have to find another one. Stand by. Let's see. What are they doing? Technical difficulties, they say. Oh my, okay. I sound like I'm from Tennessee now, right? Oh my. Okay, so yeah, all the court feeds are down right now. They said we'll be right back. Court TV says technical difficulties. Oh dear. Is it technical difficulties or is the judge saying, you know what? This is what they're showing. Oh, I could get out the way here quickly. There we go. Technical difficulties, please stand by. So everybody please stand by. We will be waiting to see what happens next, right? Okay, let me just move myself over again. In fact, I'll be here in the middle. So the jury was sent out. Megan was asked, do you want to testify? And she said, no. Let's just do it like this and we'll just monitor the feeds, right? Somebody said in the chat here that the jury was shown. I didn't see that. Maybe I skipped over at the right moment. I hope so. Alicia said, what I can see is there's no one to speak for Evelyn. Yeah, it's very sad. That is very sad. Kimberly in Japan said, no one expressed any feelings for Evelyn. Too sad. It is very sad. I agree. Okay. So, yeah, we'll just have to see what is going on here. So we've got that one. We'll just have to wait. Oh, I see. It's when I think it was when Nikki said if the jury was shown on camera, we probably won't get back into the courtroom. I mean, the judge didn't even want the verdict to be read with audio on, so somebody's going to get admonished big time. Let me just type. Okay, just hold on. Sorry, I'm just letting someone know as well what's happening. Okay. So Christy said I wanted victim impact statements. Right? Shame. Okay. I guess we just wait to see what happens. Now, what's really, I mean, we've heard from Angela Boswell, Mary Boswell, and Gail Kyte. Did the defense mention any other witnesses that they'd want to bring up, or is that it, do you think? They sent the jury out, so then they asked Megan if she would want to testify. She said no, so I would guess they would have to bring the jury back in and ask in front of the jury if, hey, like, are you going to testify? No. And then the judge would have to read instructions for the sentencing of Megan Boswell, read instruction to the jury, and then they'd go and deliberate for a second time, which, in my opinion, I don't think that's going to take long. If they took 4.5 hours to find Megan Boswell guilty on all counts, I don't think it's going to take long for them, to come back with what they think the sentencing should be. Objection cake, you said, gee, unfortunately I did see. Okay, interesting. So it's from the court fees. I will be blurring that out. So I think I should probably, let's just see what happens quickly here. But if that's what they're going to do, we do have another stream already set up, good to go for when they come back for that sentencing. But right now, all the feeds are down. Oh boy, they're playing music and everything. Okay. Oh, the judge must be like, whew. Okay. So, yeah, we are aware of the issue, says Pernille. So what do you guys think of the verdict that Megan Boswell was found guilty on 19 counts? Do you agree with it? Do you not agree with it? Do you think the state proved their case? Let me know. Okay, let's see what else you have. Shame. Oh, mommy says she would take Megan home right now if she could. Okay. Sal Garcia says, believe me, I've served time in prison 11 years ago and she's going to have hell in there. She deserves all of it. Is it as well in female prisons? that obviously harming children is hopefully equally frowned upon, right? Because I know for the men that harm children, it's very, very dangerous for them to be in prison, right? So same for females, or what? If you have experience. Carissa Heitzman says, I could not forgive my daughter for murdering my grandbaby and then accusing me of taking her and doing something to her. Unforgivable. Her choices are coming back to haunt her now. Right? I can't believe that. I guess Angela feels slightly, she's got like guilt or something. That would be her mother. Because, I mean, to think how Megan Boswell threw her own mother under the bus, blaming her for taking Evelyn, getting her arrested. I mean, that was quite something as well, right? Okay. So, let me quickly see something here. Okay, so yeah, that feed is just completely stuck and the others are just saying, be right back. Let me quickly see what Court TV is doing as well. Yeah, technical difficulties. Interesting. Worst case scenario in the unlikely event that we have to say goodbye for now. Don't worry, we'll be back for the sentencing stream then. You know, we could always just catch up there and watch her get sentenced. Because I don't know, it depends though if the judge is going to allow the cameras back in now. Did you guys enjoy my side profile? As I type. Okay, so, yes, okay, good. Here's what we're going to do. So we saw Angela Boswell testify, Mary Boswell, Gail Kyte. That's what the defense mentioned would be their mitigating factors, witnesses to argue that Megan Boswell should get a lesser sentence than life without the possibility of parole. They want a life sentence with the possibility of parole, which then they said Megan would be out by the time she's 69 years old, right? So all that they have to do now would be the judge has to, we just saw them ask as well, without the jury present, if Megan is going to testify. She said no. So all they'd have to do is call the jury back in, like we saw this happen before. They'd have to call the jury back in, which is probably happening while the camera's off, and say, she is not testifying now, here's the jury instructions. They read the jury instructions for sentencing, which the defense told us is much shorter than obviously reading all 19 counts. It was 81 pages yesterday, over an hour and a half, right? And so, sorry, I'm getting distracted. Esme said, let's say her name, Evelyn, without the R. Evelyn, yes. So, thank you so much for your sticker. The thing is, if they're going to do jury instructions now and the jury gets sent back to deliberate, the only thing that we're still going to see is, there we go, Lorraine said judge was on another channel and they said the judge ordered cameras off. I'm not surprised by that. So what we're going to do now is say goodbye for now. I've got a stream set up in fact, we're going to be kind of almost on time. It's an hour to go before the behavior panel has their analysis of Megan Boswell's interviews, and I will definitely be there in chat, okay? That's happening in 1 hour from now. I think it's at 12:30 Eastern or so. And they're going to have lunch, I would assume, as well. So the jury will deliberate. They're probably going to eat lunch, and then they're going to come back and they're going to recommend a sentence. If they recommend life without parole, that's it. They say life without parole. The judge says, okay, you've been sentenced to life without parole. They cuff her and she goes. I have a sentencing stream set up for you. Please stand by when I give you the link in a moment here. Are you ready? And let's go there. Here's the link, okay? Sentencing next, if the judge allows cameras. Because I'm not sure now. Mystery Willow, thank you so much. And let me quickly set it up so that we can go there right after the outro. I will set up the automatic redirect for us to stand by. And let's just hope that the judge allows us to see it. If not, well, then I'll have to read it on an article to you. We'll have to see what happens, or I'll update you somehow, obviously. Are we ready now, guys? Thank you, mods. Thank you, everyone. There's so many people here. There's almost 12,000 people here. I appreciate you all so much. I'm also going to now, I'm going to blur out the part where the jury was shown, because you absolutely have to do that. If they showed the jury, I'm going to find that exact timestamp and I'm going to be blurring that out or chopping it out. I will not allow that to stay there. Grizzly Cat says, thank you. Thank you, Grizzly Cat. And I will see you all over there. Are we ready now? I'll share the link in the stream. You can click there and go there. We'll run a poll over there as well to see what you think the sentencing will be. So please do come over and vote. So I'll see you there in a moment. Leah Matthews, Justice for Baby Evelyn. Yes, thank you for your $99.99 super sticker. That's insane. Thank you so much. I'll see you at the sentencing, all right? See you later, guys. And I'll definitely see you in the behavior panels chat, okay? Bye, everyone.